Hello everybody and welcome back to Tlatoani, where last episode we dealt with our attack problem once and for all. Tlaxcala is now not even an ally, they are now a vassal of ours. We conquered them. So that is absolutely wonderful. It's very good that we're not going to get constantly raided. We've been working on developing this area down here and trying to get our food production a little bit higher. We definitely need more food, and more money coming in would be very good as well. To that end, I would love to build a collector down here. We can. I am surprised about that. I'm gonna put one here, and we're gonna run the road kind of like that, and it's going to connect like this. So that's going to be able to get all of these farmhouses, a chunk of this over here. Definitely not all of it. But one thing we can do over here is we could put a collector here as well, and then run a ramp up right there like that. And this collector will get this entire area, and then this collector will get some of that. It'll get all of this. It will get all of this as well, it looks like. Yeah, so that seems good. We'll get that underway. That's going to be absolutely fantastic to have some of that coming in. So we're working on laying the road out over here, and we're going to get more obsidian and more stone down over this direction, which would, of course, be very, very useful for us. This porter yard currently doesn't have any obsidian, so I think we are definitely lacking in our obsidian stocks, and we could use some additional obsidian. Did we put a mason yard down here? Yes, we did. Okay, cool. So the gods are currently furious at our insolence, and we should probably do something about that, to be honest. So I do want to get going on that. We're talking about building a palace up over here as well, which I do still want to think about doing. A royal palace about right here, and then fully surround that with stone road about like that. But I do agree that we need to do something about this whole god problem, right? So in order to do that, we could do a shrine to Tlaloc up over here. This is average symmetry, but this is good symmetry. So we'll do a shrine to Tlaloc there, and I also want a shrine to Tlaloc around here. This is average, awful, weak. This is good symmetry. It would block a road. I would prefer not to do that. This is good symmetry, and it would actually reach all of these houses out over here, as well as a number of this out over here. So that seems decent. Okay, so there's Tlaloc. We probably want to have the God of War be somewhere near our barracks and our fortresses. That's divine symmetry, so I'm going to build that right there. And then out over this way, awful symmetry, abysmal, that's good. Good symmetry here. I like it. So let's get that going, and that'll be 2 shrines there. So I'm going to take this road out and then kind of awkwardly around this porter stop, about like that. Okay, so that seems fine. Next up is Jipe Totec. So that's about rich harvests. I wouldn't mind putting it in up here, and then perhaps down here, but that's still weak symmetry at this point. This is good symmetry. That's blocked. This is strong symmetry. So let's go ahead and put it there. So that seems fine. Quetzalcoatl is artisans. So somewhere down this direction would probably be, well, that's good symmetry there. Let's put that there, and then maybe one up over here. This is divine symmetry. So for now, we're just putting in 2 of each shrine, and we're just trying to put them in vaguely smart places. So that'll be fine. And we're not going to build any of the temples yet. We probably will later. So these, I feel like they can just kind of go anywhere. Strong symmetry here, and then maybe one down over this direction somewhere. That's weak symmetry. This is strong symmetry, but I don't like that positioning. Average symmetry? I'll go with average. That seems okay. And then this is smiling on rebels and fighters. That's abysmal symmetry. Good symmetry here. So we'll put that there. I'm just prioritizing placing these over near our fortresses. So we're not reaching the... This actually doesn't reach the fortresses. Okay, that's fine. So something like that. So that'll be our shrines going in. And then down over this way, we should probably have a shrine out over here as well. This would be a shrine to Tlaloc and to Jipe Totek. So I'd like to have one down over here, ideally that would reach all the way in there. Let's just run a road up like this and then out like this just to mark that out and demarcate that overall area there. This almost reaches all of those. Not quite. That's interesting. If we were to put it up here, then it would reach all of them. So if we did that and then extended this road like this, yeah, that doesn't reach all of them there. So no on that one. So we do have this collector here, but to be honest, I'm going to move the collector over. And then down this way, I want to put in a shrine here. So this is going to be a shrine to Tlaloc and Jipe Totek in this area. So I do want it to be down here. We could do another set of them over here as well, remember. So these require a scenic neighborhood, but that's reasonable. Symmetry is not great down here, but for the moment, that'll do. So let's start to get some of those shrines online. That is, of course, going to be a very big deal for us. How are we doing on our maze at this point? Maze is currently net positive. We're still going to see more growth down over this way as well. So that seems good for now. And yeah, more diversion. Diversion is absolutely a thing we're going to need. We may want to consider putting in a ball court to give ourselves like city-wide diversion. I'm just checking to see. The symmetry here is not good. That's weak symmetry. If we were to put it down here somewhere, it's very large. So I'd really prefer to have it about here. And maybe we should just build it there and be like, you know what? It's just going to have weak symmetry. Maybe. So in that case, I would like to extend this road out and around. We're going to need to have it be about there, which means that we may as well move this stone road to be like that. So we can see here that the ball court, it doesn't have infinite range, but it will reach everything that we have currently built, except for this farmer's hut. That's okay. So we need to get a lot of construction going there. That's not necessarily surprising. We queued up a lot of things. I want to have more shrines down over this way, and this is definitely the time we need to start getting that going, because it turns out the gods are pretty upset at us right now. We can put a road in here. People are trying to walk that anyway. And I don't feel like timber is actually an issue for us right now. I think we just need to get these constructions done. So let's cruise on through that. We are net positive for the year so far. Let's see if we can come out of debt. That would be absolutely great. Yeah, we have some gods that are still pretty upset at us. We need to get these constructions complete. Okay, so all of that is looking good. We don't need to expand our military probably ever at this point. Our military is probably as good as it's going to get. So we're seeing that this trading post is starting to build up its amount of weapons. That's good. It's also starting to build up its amount of cotton. We'll probably get some additional trading posts going eventually, but for right now, I feel like this is pretty okay. So we are working our way through some of this construction deficit very slowly. Okay. Yeah, definitely very, very slowly, but we are starting to make our way through it. We've got some housing down over here, which will definitely help us. And this farmer's hut, well, these farms are going to start coming online very, very soon. So that looks good. Looks to me like these canals are not fully built here. Okay, they are actually queued up. They're just not actually constructed. So that seems okay. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Right. We wanted to have these canals be one further, or no, we didn't need them to have one to be one further. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, we did need them to be one further. This section of road would come up like that. Okay, so the canals are going to go like this. Perfect. And we're, of course, going to not construct these sections of canal just yet. There we go. So we've got a lot of building deficit to work on. We're certainly working on it. We've got lots and lots of stone. We've got lots and lots of timber. Clay is our main Achilles heel at this point. So that looks fine. We've got basically no diversion in this city at all at this moment, and we definitely need to get some diversion going in here. So for now, poor nutrition is becoming a problem. Would that be the case? I suppose it could be. We have some grain building up down over on this side, but it's not necessarily getting distributed all the way up over here. There's a fire. That's fine. An herbalist has caught fire. I'm not sure where. Ah, right here. Okay, it's already dealt with. So that looks great. And we just had traders come back here, and they brought in some clay. That's also a very, very good thing, and they're heading back out again. So at this point, we're at plus 1306. So we can probably start thinking about... What's our current tax rate? 10%? Okay. I'm going to cut our religion down to 40%. And I'm going to cut diversion and culture down to 40% as well. But I'm going to give everyone else a pay increase up to 40%. So that'll be fine for the moment. We need to continue to work on our finances, but our finances are on track to be in a good position as of right now. So that looks good. And we really do need to get these constructions finished. So we're starting to get some of these shrines done. That looks good. Citizens are leaving. I mean, I'm not terribly shocked about that one. So for now, that's reasonably fine. Unfortunately, this collector hasn't been moved yet. We're waiting on a lot of things to happen at this moment. That's for sure. This porter yard is trying to acquire some stone and timber. Timber is still a little bit short for us, no doubt about that. We've got no timber in this porter yard, which tells me that we should definitely look to expand out our timber production. So I'm going to build a road out over here, and we're going to get some timber production out over here. I'm going to put a sawyer here, here. I'm going to put it here, which is kind of an awkward place to put it, and here, which unfortunately does remove a couple sections of tree, but I think that's acceptable considering just how much timber we're going to be getting out of this. It's going to be all of this out over here. So that seems fine. I'm assuming this porter yard can reach them all, and yes, it can. Okay, so we'll get going on that, and eventually we'll get all of these constructions done up over this way, but some of them also might end up crumbling. We don't really have mason yards up over there, and we may want to consider putting in like a mason yard right here, and then a mason yard somewhere out over this way, maybe even as far out as this. That road isn't connected, is it? It is not. We've got outcrops in the way. Okay, so with that in mind, we want to bring the road out over this direction. About like that, and I think then it'll connect. Yes. Let's get rid of that section of road and this section of road. It's a little awkward, but I think it'll do. At least that way we'll have a road connection out there, right? So that looks good. And then I do want to put a mason yard down over here. And I want to put a mason yard over here as well, somewhere. This is kind of awkward road setups here. I'm going to change the road a little bit here, and we're just going to get rid of that and that as well. Okay, and then the mason yard is going to end up going in probably about right here or so, but we'll wait on that. So that looks fine for now. Okay, so we're continuing to produce out over here. We're expecting this to be cash crops, but I do want to continue to get some of this production done down over here, food production specifically. So all of that is necessary. We'll get that going soon enough. We probably need more housing out over here, although we just don't really have very many people out here right now. I do think I'm going to put in another block of 6 houses right over here, and we'll just have that come in about like that. Okay, so that'll get us a good amount of housing out over this way for these jobs. That seems good for the moment, and we need to get our economy back on track. But we've got a lot of construction work to do yet. We do have these Sawyers coming online, and that'll be good. I'm thinking right now that we might need more housing over this way as well. So one thing we could do is we could put in like a common home right up over here or something. This is kind of an awkward space for it, but sure, somewhere around there. So just a single common home for now. That's probably enough out over this way. I'm wondering about services. It can certainly reach the Well Dipper Sentry Post Sweeper over here, but what about the market? Yeah, that's a negative. So we may need to put in another market somewhere out over this direction. A small market maybe about here. So we'll get that going, and that should be reachable by this granary. Cool. So that'll be good for now. Now, what's our construction deficit? Well, we can see we need about 90 clay, 728 timber, 1,005 stone, 49 artwork, and 5 gold artwork. We do not have a goldsmith at this point. Okay. I'm going to put one up over here. We only need the one, so that'll be fine. We'll get that going, and everything else should be good to go. We're currently net negative in our finances. This is probably due to the wage increase, but I still feel like the wage increase is fairly necessary. We could compensate for it with a tax increase, but the default tax rate is 15. So let's sit at 15%. And we'll see what that ends up doing. Just keeping an eye on our gold at this point. Although I do think we want to change this a little bit. So I'm going to say no trade here. This is only importing salt. This guy here, I'm going to change to be only importing clay. So something like that. And then I want to get some additional trading posts going. So I'm going to put in one here. I'm going to put in one over here. And then perhaps one up over this way. I don't love this position. Maybe a second one over here. Something like that. So that it can be watched over by the barracks. And the fortress over here. Yeah, that seems good. So at this point, we want this to be going to Texcoco, and we want this to be exporting cotton, and only cotton. Just a cotton export. This one is going to be with Texcoco, and this one is going to be just a weapon export. And then this one up over here is going to also be Texcoco, and is just going to be an armor export. There we go. So we'll get that going. That seems fine. Some of our forts lack supplies. That's not terribly surprising. As we ramp up our production of weapons and armor, it should be okay. So that seems reasonably fine. This obsidian mine does require additional staff, but that's what these common homes are for. They need timber. So with our additional timber production up here starting to come online, it should be good. Yeah, there are no trees nearby enough for these sawyers. So I'm thinking that we're going to relocate a sawyer here and a sawyer here, while these other two... Actually, I've changed my mind. I'm going to relocate these two. This one and this one up over to this side. And then where are they going to be delivering their goods to? Well, we could definitely put a porter yard up over here. We've got a mason yard going in anyway. So a porter yard right up over here sounds great. And this is, of course, going to be clay, stone, and timber. We're going to be accepting timber. We're going to be getting clay and stone. Okay. So that's all online, and eventually that'll happen. We've got these houses built here. That looks good. I'd love to get more food production online, but for the time being, we're kind of waiting on timber. So moving these two up should mean that these two have more time to harvest this stuff up over here, which may or may not be harvestable by some of these sawyers, but they can come out over here. These are just idle at this moment, or they were idle because we were waiting on growth. So that's understood. We definitely want to get some of these sawyers moved. No doubt about that. This collector is strained, and it wants a royal palace for supervision. We are going to get that done, but we may want to think about another collector up somewhere over perhaps... what do you reach? Everything, pretty much. Okay, so maybe perhaps somewhere over this way. Just to take a little bit of the strain off. Or maybe even here, once these get moved. It might not be considered a scenic neighborhood. I'll just put a collector here. That seems fine for now. Okay, so our net food is positive still. That's very good, especially when we consider these two farms not online yet. So that's noted. And there's still a lot of work that needs to be done out over this direction. These obsidian mines are now making obsidian, so that looks good. That should be heading up over to these blade nappers and making sure that they have plenty of obsidian in stock. So that seems okay. We're not currently exporting stone at all, and that's understood. But we are going to be exporting some of this cotton, and we're going to be exporting some of these weapons and armor. So that's a big flood right now that has actually overpowered our stone canals up here. Oh, these aren't fully built. Okay, fair enough. So that explains why they're overpowering those canals. It's not a problem. I'm okay with it. So we're continuing to make our way through here. These sawyers seem to be relatively okay here. So that's wonderful. But we have a lot of things that we're waiting on right now. Down over here, we really do need some timber. So we could harvest these trees. There's not much for trees down here, but we could harvest these. We could harvest these or these. These are going to go away, though. So I just want to have that harvesting be happening up here. I really, really do. So that seems okay. These guys are still able to access some trees out over here. That looks good. And eventually we'll get these sawyers moved, and up here they'll be able to harvest quite a lot more trees. So that will ultimately be a good thing. But for now, we gotta wait on the timber to flow through. So that's definitely going to take a little bit of time. But it seems okay. Out over this direction, there's actually some swamp that we could chinampa, and we probably should at some point. We'll get that queued up. It's not a huge priority. And some of this down over here looks chinampable again. Yeah, that's chinampable, but not these. Okay, well, we'll get that going. Hopefully, eventually, we'll get that all finished up. That would be awfully nice. But our maize is positive. And these two farms, not fully online, we're planning all of this to be food production. And then I'm planning for this to be cotton, and then we'll play it by ear from there. And I'm just thinking about how we're going to be setting this up. The plan was for this to be services, right? But we could have this be services. That's also a theoretical possibility. But we'll see. For now, things are ticking along reasonably okay. We do want to get some more people down over here to work in our stone quarries, but as of right now, those aren't online. Our obsidian mines are online, and that means that our blade nappers are busily napping blades. That is, of course, great. We want to see that happening, and the question then becomes, how are we doing on our salt production? Well, we definitely need more salt. So this is just importing clay. We've got a good amount of clay right now. And then this is just going to be importing salt here. No more are we going to have any space for stone here. Just import all the salt that you can. These are the only two things that we need to import. So we'll have that proceed for now. And that looks good. It is, however, about time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we're going to continue to expand this area down here and hope that some of these structures start to get built. That would be nice. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, Rornaz, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.